This brings us to the least controversial region of ancient DNA studies, the Balkans. The last major study that saw a large-scale data dump of ancient DNA samples from myriad sites from across the Balkans was the Genetic History of the Southern Arc, a bridge between West Asia and Europe, back in 2022. We're rapidly approaching 2027, which means it has been nearly half a decade since a large-scale study on the Balkans has been released. The Southern Arc study was a bit of a gold mine for J2b L283 research in the Balkans, with many ancient J2b L283 samples published from Albania, Montenegro, and Croatia from the Bronze Age and Iron Age, with many samples linked to the Cetina culture, as well as post-Cetina groups believed to be in part ancestral to the Mesopic and Illyrian people found throughout the Western Balkans and Italy. These West Balkan samples complemented the numerous Mesopic samples from throughout southeastern Italy, known as Apulia. This link is further bolstered by robust IBD segment sharing between Mesopic sample Neo 806, dated to about 1100 BCE, from Grotta della Mura, Italy, and various Cetina/post-Cetina samples in Albania, Montenegro, and Croatia. The Migdalia Greece samples linked to early Mycenaeans under the Z615 branch of J2b L283, at least based on IBD sharing, show little overlap with West Balkan Cetina and post-Cetina samples. This is a bit of a surprise since Cetina expanded as far south as the Peloponnesus in southern Greece. Instead, the largest segment sharing is with Moldova Yamnaya and Ukraine Yamnaya, with intermittent small-scale sharing with Chalcolithic groups from Romania. Since the Migdalia samples were dated to 1600 BCE and the site contained matte painted pottery from the same time period, known as Migdalia I, it's possible that the Z615 Migdalia samples represent a southward movement of Greco-Phrygian speakers via the matte painted ware complex. Additionally, the aforementioned Yedier et al. Preprint contained a Mycenaean J2b L283 sample from Kirha, Greece, dated to 1600 BCE as well, this time under the Z600 branch. Thus, it appears that some of the older pre-Z597 branches of J2b L283 are associated, at least in part, with early Greek speakers moving into southern Greece from Moldova and western Ukraine. Since Z615, Migdalia, Greece, and Z600, Kirha, Greece, are slightly older branches when compared to Z597, one possibility is that this split between these older and younger branches somewhat mirrors the proposed linguistic tree from linguists Hillestead and Joseph for Balkan Indo-European languages, in this case the Greco-Albanian split. The older J2b L283 branches appear connected with the Greco-Phrygian branch, while those under Z597 are much more closely related to the Illyric branch, which includes Albanian and Mesopic speakers. Since IBD sharing links both groups with Western steppe herders, aka the Yamnaya, in Moldova and Ukraine, perhaps the Western steppe is the source of these Greco-Albanian languages, with Armenian developing further east between Crimea and the Kuban steppe of southwestern Russia in what is known as the Novo-Tudorovskaya culture. Finally, recent IBD